So I've been asked before, Medi, who's your favorite stand? And obviously they expect me to say something like Ocarine or some super overpowered stand like Gold Experience Requiem. But when I answer this question, they're usually disappointed, and I don't really understand why. The answer to the question is Silver Chariot. Not Silver Chariot Requiem, though it is a cool ability and evolution, but Silver Chariot by itself is my favorite stand. And let me get into that real quick. On the surface, Silver Chariot seems to be like a pretty average stand with a C in destructive power, A in speed, but we'll get into that. A C in range, a B in durability, B in precision, and a C in developmental potential. So he doesn't have a lot of chance to develop, but Silver Chariot has some very unique features about it, and that being, one, its C in destructive power is a little bit of a lie, and we'll get more into that when we get to the speed category, but it itself is kind of a average strength stand. It can't pull Polnareff across the room when he's being attacked by Vanilla Ice, but that could also play into the fact that he was incredibly wounded at the time. Despite Silver Chariot's moderate strength, Polnareff holds a pretty solid win count. He defeats Devo, he defeats J. Guile, he defeats Anubis, and he defeats Vanilla Ice. He also fights Dio, but he doesn't win. He almost does. Dio makes mention that if he hadn't stopped time, Polnareff could have shredded his brain, so even Dio realizes that Polnareff is pretty fucking tough. And we're talking about pretty fucking tough because Polnareff's stand, Silver Chariot, has an ability that is unique to itself, I believe. I don't think there's any other stand that has anything like this. But that's its armor. And it's not just for aesthetic purposes. Its armor actually protects Polnareff from taking damage from other stands. Because as you know, if a stand gets hurt, its user gets hurt. But with Polnareff's Silver Chariot's armor, Polnareff would take no damage from it being hit. But another thing that's kind of unique to Silver Chariot is its rapier. Its rapier does most of its heavy lifting, because Silver Chariot by itself has very little destructive power. As I mentioned earlier, it's kind of a weaker stand. But its rapier can cut through solid stone. Like, no problem. It's an incredibly strong tool. But not only that, Silver Chariot's rapier also has the ability to shoot its sword out. And this is able to deflect off of stone. It can do precision trick shots with its own rapier, but the issue is Polnareff does have to retrieve the blade afterwards, because he can't just materialize them out of nowhere. So, he does have one nerf to that, but what would make up for that nerf is something that completely makes Polnareff overpowered. Silver Chariot has one more ability I have not mentioned yet. This, of course, is the ability to remove its own armor and loosen its body to the point it becomes a lot faster. So fast, in fact, it is able to leave after images behind. Let's get a little scientific for a minute. To be able to leave an after image or trick the mind in such a way, you'd have to be moving at an incredibly fast speed. Roughly 250 meters per second. That's when things start to blur, and that's when things get a little weird. Now, anyone who is the fan of The Flash, or a superhero of extreme speed, will know that speed is a lot to do with power, and Polnareff has a pretty powerful weapon. So, logically speaking, Polnareff is able to do Star Platinum levels of damage with his sword. At his extreme speed, Polnareff can lunge at you with about 12.7 tons of force. That is easily enough to kill you, and is incredible. Why don't people realize how fucking strong Polnareff is? He's really scarily strong. But you guys didn't come here to hear about regular Silver Chariot. You're hoping for something extra, aren't you? 残酷な天使のように少年よ神話になれ Silver Chariot Requiem. What do I say about Silver Chariot Requiem? Well, it was Silver Chariot originally, and then it got pierced with the Requiem arrow. And as the Requiem arrow works, it gives Polnareff the exact power he needed at the time, which was the ability to get the arrow away from Diavolo. And it creates one hell of a monster. Silver Chariot Requiem has three main abilities. That's Grand Scale Soul Manipulation, Stand Manipulation, and Regeneration abilities. Its Grand Scale Soul Manipulation works within its range. Anything within its range immediately falls unconscious, or asleep in a sense, and then switches souls with the closest living thing next to it. There are arguments if it is actually the closest thing next to it, but there are other arguments. There are cases where it doesn't, because Polnareff would have went into Diavolo, and that doesn't make much sense because he goes into the turtle. But still, it switches souls with everyone. Also, can I just mention, Polnareff fought Diavolo twice, came out victorious both times. By victorious, I mean he survived. It is mass level destruction. No one is safe from its A in range, which it has. It also has an A in durability and an A in developmental potential, and E in everything else. But it also has stand manipulation, which is the scariest part about it, because if you try to get too close to the arrow, your own stand will attack you. Silver Chariot Requiem is a stand designed specifically to protect the arrow. Nothing can get close to it. It doesn't even matter if you injure it, because if you're able to detach limbs, like Bruno does with Sticky Fingers, it will just regrow them. It reattaches them. It has regeneration ability. You can't stop it. The only weakness it has is its own shadow. The shadow it has is reflected from the light behind you, your soul. Your own soul you have to destroy to defeat this stand. This stand requires a goddamn sacrifice to defeat. It is broken beyond all fucking belief. Like, holy shit. And it's perfect because that's perfectly designed to stop Diavolo, because Diavolo will treat his life above anyone else's, and he would never sacrifice himself to claim the arrow. And so Silver Chariot Requiem completely succeeds at its design. It is one of the coolest stands to come out of Part 5, because it looks so fucking cool. It looks... It's really cool. Silver Chariot's still better, though. So yeah. There's your Silver Chariot Requiem video. It's not that complicated. Oh, and when it's defeated, everything it does is reversed. That's it. Like and comment. Also, don't forget to pre-order Shimonetta, a boring world where the concept of dirty jokes doesn't exist, coming out November 29th on Funimation.com/Shimonetta. Pre-order now and get fucking nothing, because I'm not being paid to do this. Just go do it for me, please.